Welcome, everybody. Today is a phenomenal day. I know I'm a little bit behind the ball here when it comes to the trailer for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3, the culling game. That dropped, I believe it was on Sunday, but unfortunately I was out of town, so I've been trying to catch back up as I've got back and, had to deal with work and, just normal life stuff. But we are here. I am absolutely ecstatic. Jujutsu Kaisen is one of my favorite series of all time. I've read it since the very first chapter release, and now that it has ended back in 2024, I've read the series from beginning to its finale, I believe 10 times now. So slightly obsessed with this series. We've all been waiting to get some news for season 3. They haven't really given us anything for a while, and then they had that panel, and then they just dropped this teaser trailer, and on top of it, the anime is going to be airing in January for the entire season. I know they're doing like a special Shibuya incident movie episode where they're going to throw in the first 1 or 2 episodes of the culling game, and that's going to be in like November, so it's going to be even sooner. But for the full season release, it's going to be January. So I am just overjoyed. I think season 2 was an absolute masterpiece. Shota Goshizono is back again. He was the director for season 2. That's why we kind of got that stylistic change from season 1, which was still very good, to season 2, which I think was one of the best anime adaptations that we had seen, definitely in recent years, but I may dare even say up there with all time, because it really did. Goshizono and the team at MAPPA they really were able to grasp the tone and the vibe of Jujutsu Kaisen, like at its core, and take what the manga gave and then try to elevate it with the incredible OSTs, obviously the incredible animation. We have a great cast of voice actors for all of like our main characters. So season 2 is just phenomenal. I am beyond hyped for season 3. And I really just hope that the team has had enough time. And I mean, at least from this teaser trailer, it looks phenomenal. But I hope they have enough time that they're able to execute on their full vision for the culling games. Because from a manga standpoint, this arc is absolutely incredible. Insane high-octane fights. Some great character moments for our main cast. And I'm far too excited. So I will say right now that this is not a spoiler-free deep dive into this trailer. This is going to be, for anyone who is here that is anime only, this video specifically is not for you, because when it comes to the teaser trailer, it basically just picks back up where season 2 ended, where Yuta is now decreed the executioner for Yuji. And that's a majority of what we get in this trailer. So there's not too much that I can talk about outside of Yuji and Yuta that wouldn't be a spoiler. So this is just throwing out the warning here, because I am going to completely overanalyze this trailer, because that's what I love to do. I love the series. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump right in. I will not be showing like any visuals or playing any of the music. I don't know how the copyright works with that. And currently with the setup that I do have, it's just not really within my capacity. So first, go watch it if somehow you're here and you haven't. So go watch it, but we're going to dive in. And the trailer opens up with the scene of Yuji on the staircase. And this is clearly, his head is down. He's completely shaken from the events of the Shibuya incident and everything that happened with Sukuna and Mahito, the disaster curses, and the sealing of Gojo, the death of Nanami and Nobara. And it's just, Yuji is completely defeated. He's been exiled, basically, and up for execution when it comes to Jujutsu High. So we open up and we have this incredible red tint coming through the stained glass window behind Yuji, which I just absolutely love, because in the manga it's just, you know, kind of like these blank window panels, so you can't actually see, but this just gives that dark tone of this scene just a whole different meaning. And I love it so much that if you saw the thumbnail, I, with my very limited artistic ability, and I stress the word limited, I know I'm fairly terrible. That's the whole joke about my thumbnails, is because I hand draw them, and I am absolutely terrible when it comes to art. So I tried to take inspiration from this stained glass in the background, but you guys let me know if I failed completely or if you at least maybe caught it. But Yuji is talking about the fact that he cannot stay with everyone. We already know this. He feels guilty for what happened with Sukuna and that whole situation in Shibuya. So he's talking about the fact that he can't stay with everyone. And I mean, it's depressing to see our boy like that. But we have him just sitting on the stairs, hanging out, just looking depressed. But that's all pretty much for the opening scene. We're going to transition from Yuji on the stairs to getting to see some scenes from all over Japan. Presumably we're seeing scenes from the different colonies, because we know that Kenjaku activated the idol transfiguration remotely and also erected the barriers that are used for each colony of the Culling Games. So we're getting to see some different cursed spirits. We're getting to see very eerie scenes of just, like, one of the scenes is a table in what looks like an apartment that still is covered in what looked to be dinner, you know, like just a family living there having dinner, and then this absolute chaos unfolds and they have to get the heck out of there. But it's still left behind in this eerie, you know, it looks like someone still is there currently, but we know they're not. And we get to see some of the other new curse spirit designs. That's why I also love seeing in the anime, the team gets a little bit of creative freedom when it comes to designs of curse spirits that aren't like specific to the manga. Obviously, curse spirits like Jogo, Dagon, Hanami, all those guys, they didn't change anything, they just adapted them. But for the lower level kind of unnamed curse spirits, they just kind of get to go wild with their imagination. And so I love to see it. We get to see like these weird blue and black, like bat hand looking things. We transition through the basically a dystopian city that's been left to ruin. And then we get to see the first visual of our boy Yuta Kotsu walking through a building, just looking great. We continue on through the trailer and we have some explosions coming from like an under highway passage. And at least for me, I believe this to be the scene after Yuji, you know, does his clap out on the bridge and attracts the cursed spirits. It's when he's running through the city and then he jumps down into the underground road, the tunnel, and basically he's leading them to Choso for Choso to, you know, piercing blood through all of them. But in this scene, it looks like they're maybe exaggerating the speed at which the cursed spirits are traveling through that tunnel, and that's why we're seeing like the dirt and the rubble and the dust all flying up because maybe as they're passing, it's like the pressure is shooting it up. I don't know. Could be a totally different scene, but that's where my head initially went to. We transition then to the Zenin clan's estate. I wanted to call it a house, but this place is obviously humongous. They're one of the big three Jujutsu families, the clans. They have a ton of financial resources. This is an estate. And we get to see off to the left, there's some of those wooden doors that are open, and we get to see Naoya walking, and it looks to be behind him is Maki's mother. Because we know when we first cut after the Shibuya incident and we transition to the next arc, we have a little bit of a transition period, even in the manga, where we get the update on Naobito Zenin, the head of the Zenin clan. We know what happened to him during Shibuya. He lost an arm during Dagon's domain expansion, took some significant damage in there from the sure hit effect. And, we had Toji exercise Dagon, but then immediately when they get out of there, Jogo shows up and, cooks Maki, Nanami, and Naobito. And that was the last time that we saw both Maki and Naobito. We obviously get to see Nanami further in the arc, and he had survived that initial attack. But we never got to figure out what happened with Naobito. So then obviously we cut to the Zenin clan. This is where we get, first introduced to Naoya and who he basically is as a character. He's everybody's favorite feminist. Obviously completely sarcastic. The dude is one of the most hardcore misogynists that I have seen in anime. And he has a particular disdain for Maki. So it's just very interesting that Maki's mother is the one that seems to be like his personal attendant that's walking behind him. So then we kind of continue on from the Zenin clan, and we get some interesting shots of some different curse spirits. There's like this giant hand that looks to have like no skin on it. I don't necessarily know what that is. Maybe it was a curse spirit that got destroyed, but if it was a curse spirit, you would think they dissolve after they are exorcised. So I genuinely just don't know what that is. I don't know if it's just like a symbolism thing, but then we get this very cool looking curse spirit that has like wings and like these like tentacle things coming out of its head, and it's flying towards a building, and then it like shoots up the building. This is what I'm talking about with the liberties that the studio gets to take on some of the curse spirit designs. We've never seen that before in the manga. I'm like 1,000% sure. So this is just really cool. It looks very cool. Maybe we'll get to see this one fighting something. I'm assuming a lot of these shots with the curse spirits, it's just seeing what's going on within the colonies, because we know that Kenjaku released at bare minimum 10 million curse spirits at the end of Shibuya. So they're filled in all of these colonies across Japan, just wreaking havoc within these barriers. And it's just cool to get to see the different designs. We have a bunch of little shots with like washing blood off the hands. It looks to be Yuji at a sink, because we know Yuji it's like the black, but then he has the little bit of red sticking out of the sleeves of his outfit, because we know he has like the red hoodie as well. So I'm assuming this is kind of like a representative of washing the blood, or trying to wash the blood off his hands from the Shibuya incident, even though we know anything that happened during that time wasn't of Yuji's own volition. He was unconscious, and Sukuna took advantage. We had the disaster curses. We had Mimiko and Nanako feed him a finger. The disaster curses feeding him 10 fingers. And there was just no way for him to keep control of Sukuna. But Yuji feels so personally responsible. He's so empathetic. He's so compassionate that he himself just cannot absolve himself of that sin. He just believes it, it's his fault. So this is just a very cool scene to see the blood. It's coming off, but his hands are still stained. We continue on from there, and we get back to the scene of Yuji on the bridge, which was the very last scene that we saw at the end of season 2. He's in his full black jumpsuit getup, because he's not wearing the sorcerer's uniform from Jujutsu High because he's no longer affiliated at this time. He's, basically one of the main enemies because we had the 5 orders come out at the end of season 2, and Yuji, his execution went from suspended to immediate. So we got the cursed spirits jumping out of the water. Then we transition from there to Yuji, and it's the scene with Fushiguro showing up after Yuji's fight with Yuta. After Yuta kills him, revives him with reverse curse technique, Yuji wakes up, and that's when Megumi shows up to tell Yuji, like, hey, you got to come back. Like, you got to come back to us. Don't give up all by yourself. But Yuji just doesn't want, he believes that if he is around, that everyone that he cares about is just going to suffer in the end, because inevitably he has Sukuna within him. He knows Sukuna is specifically planning something revolving around Megumi. So he just doesn't want to subject them to any more harm. But Megumi is, he's a friend. He's his friend. He's his companion. He's a fellow sorcerer, and he's, coming to support Yuji and tell him that he cannot give up on his own. Then we transition to the next scene, which is Team Good Guys, which is our main cast at this point. Is after Yuji gets pulled back into the fold, they return back to Jujutsu High, and then they go to see Tengen. But when they enter the Tomb of the Stars, they are rejected. And that's where we have that like blank white visual in the manga where it's like just nothing is in there. And I think this is that scene. They've added some like cool stylistic lines through it, but it's mainly just like a white canvas. And I think this is the moment where they get rejected by the Tomb of the Stars right before Tengen does show up. Because Tengen basically set their barriers to reject everybody because the threat of Kenjaku is so great. Tengen didn't know basically who they could trust at this time. So we have Yuki, Maki. This is the first time we get to see her in this trailer, so it's obviously confirmation that we know she's okay. She survived the burns from Jogo. We actually know that her heavenly restriction aided in the fact that she was able to survive the attack because she is naturally resistant to curses. So Maki's here, we got Yuta, we got our best big bro Choso, who's hanging out because he's following his younger brother Yuji around, and Megumi and Yuji. This is where Tengen shows up. We get some cool dialogue of Megumi talking about the fact that they're not heroes, they're Jujutsu sorcerers. And we've already seen that. This is not, Jujutsu sorcerers, they have a role. They are there for the greater good of the people, but they themselves are not heroes. They have to do things that are sometimes very dark, very dark. They're put in situations where they can't save everybody. We saw that with Gojo in the train station in Shibuya, and the plan that was concocted by Kenjaku and the disaster curses, that even Gojo himself, the honored one, could not. He's like, I cannot save everyone. And the same goes for everybody else. Clearly, if Gojo can't do it, everybody else cannot save everybody. So it's just rehashing that point that Jujutsu sorcerers cannot be judged by the same standards as normal people or even heroes, because that's not who they are. Then we get to cut to, some cursed spirits just wreaking havoc on a bunch of buildings throughout the city. We get some dialogue from Yuta about Gojo Sensei's students and how they wouldn't go down so easily. This is obviously in reference to when the fight begins between Yuta and Yuji. He talks about the fact that he wanted to get rid of Yuji in his initial rush, like that initial rush when they start running. But he figured that any student of Gojo's would not go down that quickly. And then we get the epic scene of Yuta dropping down from above after Naoya shows up to Yuji and Choso. And we get that scene. This is obviously after they feel Yuta's presence, and he drops down on that upper level of the highway with the guardrail, and it just crumbles under the absolute immense cursed energy that Yuta has. Because we know, at least in terms of the good guys, Yuta has the most cursed energy for that side. It's even more than Gojo's. So it just crumbles everything. We get an awesome shot of Yuta with his sword. Then we cut further to the scene with Yuji being almost grabbed by Rika. We have her giant hand coming out from behind him. We can already see in the scene that he's cut on his midsection and there's blood. We know that happened from when Yuji was fighting with the knife that he took out of that truck, and he was fighting Yuta with it, and Yuta just cut straight through it, broke the blade, and cut open Yuji's stomach. So this is right after that moment that Yuji breaks Yuta's sword in the follow-up exchange. And then that's when Rika shows up and is like, what's going on here? She just comes out and grabs Yuji, and, Yuta just says they're playing. And that's right before Yuta is about to kill him. And then we transition again to a new shot of Yuta from below with his sword, and he's saying sorry to Dori. Now, it happens all the time in these trailers where they take dialogue from a different scene and they put that dialogue over top of different, it's not the scene that the dialogue goes to. And that's, again, this one as well. It looks like in this scene, Yuta is actually killing or destroying or exorcising a cursed spirit, because we see this giant eyeball in the background and purple blood. But they've matched it in the scene where he's actually stabbing Yuji. That, I believe, is the dialogue that he uses. He apologizes to Yuji as he's doing it, but they lined it up with him exorcising a cursed spirit. Then we get to see Sukuna's finger. We have Yuji talking about how he can feel Sukuna's power growing and that he's plotting something with Fushiguro. We obviously are aware of what that plan is. Then we have the scene of Yuji's knife breaking, Yuji and Yuta facing off. Yuji already has some cuts on his face. He's talking about the fact that he can't die during this time. Then we get a split-second shot of the Kogane. So we get to see our little game master Koganes. I'm really excited, actually, to see the Koganes animated, because we know that each Kogane is a little bit customized to the player that it's assigned to. So I think one, we know the voice change comes when anybody adds a rule. It's I'm assuming across all Koganes, it's the same voice when a new rule is added. But then it has its own personal voice when it's only interacting with its player. So I am actually excited to just see the Koganes, because they're all different. Kenjaku's Kogane has the stitches across its forehead. Angel's Kogane, I believe, has little hearts on it. So it's just, I love the little bit of customization with the Koganes. But there's also this really cool, if you go to the video, to the trailer, when it does show the Kogane for like literally 1 second, we get like this really cool, underneath the Kogane, it's like almost an infrared. It literally looks like an infrared shot of our good guys when they are going to talk to Tengen. Because we know it's when they go to talk to Tengen because it's the same 6 that go. Because we can see in the front actually Yuki, then it's Yuta, then we can see Maki, Choso in the back, Megumi, and Yuji. It's basically the above, behind view of what we saw earlier in the trailer when they're in that whole white room. But it's got like this really awesome infrared filter over top of it. Then we get to see our first glimpse of Tengen, you know, our favorite big old thumb. You only get to see them like top down, they're all white, but they're pulling out the back of the prison realm. And we know it's the back because that's what Tengen has, and it's black, and it has the single eye that's like got the stitches over top of it, whereas the front of the prison realm obviously is with Kenjaku, and it's the one that has like multiple eyeballs all over it, and I believe it's more of like that gray color. So the back and the front look different. So I'm assuming some people who are like anime only may see this scene and just instantly think, this is the same prison realm that Kenjaku has, but we obviously know that it's the back that Tengen has. And they are negotiating giving it to our cast as long as 2 of the group stay behind. Well, 2 of, excluding Yuji, Megumi, and Maki. So it's between Yuta, Choso, and Yuki. 2 of them have to stay behind. And we obviously know Yuki and Choso stay behind. And that's part of the deal because they need the prison realm back and Tengen needs protection from Kenjaku. We continue on from there, get our one, I believe, single glimpse of Kenjaku. Then we cut into some really awesome fight dynamic shots between Yuji and Yuta. It's interesting because in this scene, they are inside what looks to be a theater. Even though during their fight in the manga, they do never enter a building. Yuji attempts to get inside, I believe to like make Yuta's sword reach work against him by putting him in a more enclosed space. But Yuta actually stops him with the car from getting into the buildings. So it's interesting that, I mean, we obviously know in the anime they extend fights. We love that. I mean, look at Sukuna versus Maharaga. That fight is like less than a chapter in the manga, and it is a full episode of basically like 18 minutes straight of just insanity. So I'm all for it. Extend this fight, have them go inside, have them be doing some funky stuff. I don't know, jumping off the walls, the ceiling. Yuji come in top rope with like a chair. I don't care. Just more of it is always better. Yuji comments obviously on the incredible amount of cursed energy that Yuta has. We see Yuta do like a reinforcement / output like jump where you see the cursed energy build at his feet and then he leaps off the chairs at Yuji. We get some more shots of Yuji holding the blade. Then this, I'm just astounded because then we cut to Naoya and Choso. And I mean, this section of Naoya and Choso looks so good. The like lighting with the shadows and the greenish yellow hue of the lights of this underground road tunnel looks so good. And then they had no reason to make Naoya look so sweet. Like, he just looks awesome. And it's like, Naoya is one of those characters that you don't like him. He's not a good dude. You don't like him, but gosh, they made him look awesome in this trailer with the rough lines of him. And he's like, I wonder if visually that's what they're trying to make the projection sorcery look like to Choso. So if we were viewing it from Choso's perspective, is that what projection sorcery would look like? Where it looks like basically he is teleporting at an insane speed, but it's like small distances at a time, basically as he moves through the 24 frames of that second. And they're basically slowing it down enough to where we can see it. And, you know, if this is from Choso's perspective, it looks awesome. I mean, they're just going at it. We have this, you know, we're seeing Choso looks phenomenal too. They got like the shadowy black and white look with all of the blood droplets. We get to see the convergence. I mean, this fight is, I think it's really, it's overlooked by most of the fandom. It's not like a super long fight, but it is very cool. We get to see Choso being pushed. He has to, you know, he has to resort to sending more like blood because he does like flowing red scale stack, but then he also has to send extra blood to his eyes to increase his visual acuity, and he uses that to be able to keep up with Naoya's speed, at least at base, just a base regular projection sorcery speed, which is still insane because even Dagon couldn't react to Naobito at all. Like literally was getting blitzed all over the place prior to domain expansion. And Choso was able to actually see Naoya. This isn't when Naoya starts to build up speed and starts going Mach, you know, 1, 2, 3, like any of that crazy stuff. But still, he's moving insanely fast. We know that Naobito was the second fastest sorcerer behind Gojo. And now that Naobito's gone, like that may be Naoya at this point, which is, you know, I guess something for him. But we have Choso obviously being best big brother. He's like, you think I'm going to let you out of here after you tried to, you know, take out my little brother? Just being a great big bro. We get to see a quick little shot of the trees from when they have to travel past the warehouse, the storehouse, on their way to the Tomb of the Stars. We get to see the Tomb of the Stars, and, you know, sad because they're in the same location that Riko Amanai was unfortunately taken out by Toji. There's literally still the bloodstains on the ground, and our cast is having to walk over them. Then we get to another incredible moment of this teaser, which is we have Maki at the Zenin clan fighting against the Kukuru unit. And the Kukuru unit is the Zenin males that do not have curse techniques. So basically they only focus on reinforcement and output and honing their physical skills and like close combat, maybe even utilizing curse tools. Similar to Maki, but just at a lower degree. And it's very interesting because this scene, we get to see the room that they're in, and in the manga it looks like just stone panels on the ground in like this lower basin with like the wood around it and an upper level. But in here, it looks like this glass. It's like they did like a glass with stuff underneath it and like lights. I don't know. It looks really cool. Was not expecting it to look like that, but I'm absolutely here for it. I love their creative liberties that they get to take. We get to see Maki just going in. She's got the soul split katana or soul liberation blade, whichever you want to call it. You know, unfortunately, we have to deal with the different translations because Jujutsu Kaisen was unfortunately plagued with terrible official translations. And I'm curious to see what the anime does because we saw Toji wielding that curse tool in the hidden inventory arc, but they don't actually say the name of the blade there. They only talk about the inverted spear of heaven. So it's either Soul Split Katana, we'll see what the anime calls it, Soul Split Katana or Soul Liberation Blade, but then she also is still wielding at this point Dragon Bone, which is Juzo's, the dude with the apron and the axe. That's his like best work, where it has like the jet propulsion that comes out the back of the blade to increase its damage that it can do. And this was actually the last time in the manga that we do get to see the Dragon Bone. She just, after gaining the Soul Split Katana from Mai's passing, she just opts to use that the whole time, which I don't blame her. The Soul Split Katana is one of the most broken curse tools in the entire series. So I like, why not? Why use anything else? Especially after she unlocks its true potential during the Sakurajima colony against vengeful curse spirit Naoya, and is able to actually cut souls. So Maki's just looking awesome. I don't think people are going, like anime onlys, I don't think they're going to be ready for the perfect preparation arc, and Maki absolutely slaughtering all of the Zenin clan. You know, taking out her father, taking out Ogi, then proceeding to take out all of the Kukuru unit, then the Hiei, or Hei, I don't know how even to pronounce that, show up. She just murks Chojuro and the head of the Kukuru unit, then takes out Jinichi. Ranta just dies from just trying to hold Maki back, and then she goes on to just battle with Naoya, who's the head of the Hiei, and we obviously know how that ends for Naoya. So moving on from the Zenin clan, I could talk about it all day. I'm so excited to see it animated. We get the scene of Yuji on the bridge, and one of those like horned curse spirits is coming in with like a power bomb on the bridge and like decimating it. And in the manga, I thought I recollected him just immediately running. So this random curse spirit is getting some damage upscale randomly. We get some more curse spirits just wreaking havoc. We get this cool scene of the underground tunnel with Naoya and this red light receding down the tunnel in what looks to be blood splatter all over. So I'm thinking this is going to be the moment when the fight between Naoya and Choso shifts in Choso's favor, when he's talking about his brothers and Naoya is disrespecting his own, and Choso is talking about how his brothers mean so much to him. And I think that's why this tone is switching to red. We have all the blood stains, obviously, from blood manipulation. So this is when he's about to go in. And we get some more running, running shots of Yuji on the bridge that's being destroyed. And that is about it. That is where like the teaser continues to go on, because it's talking about, you know, when it's going to air, which I talked about in the beginning, that it's coming in January. I am unbelievably excited for it. But that was the full teaser trailer. Let me know down below if you've made it this far. Let me know what you thought about the teaser trailer. I think it looks phenomenal. I think the tone, the color of the skies, the action shots. I mean, I just think Goshozono really understands from a direction standpoint how to bring out the most of the source material of Jujutsu Kaisen. And I don't think I mentioned it, but the OST in this trailer, it's chef's kiss, so good. I love the OST for all of Jujutsu Kaisen, and I'm really excited to hear new and original ones, especially can't wait to get into like the openings and the endings. But that is the full teaser trailer. I can't wait, guys. I cannot wait to get season 3. I am going to be covering every episode of season 3 in excruciating detail. I like to talk a lot, maybe even talk about some minute stuff that maybe some people won't really care about. I understand if that is the case, but it's just who I am and it's what gets me excited. So I'm going to be covering every single episode in depth. I will be doing an anime only section of the video and then a spoiler section of the video for all of those episodes. So I appreciate you. If you've made it to this point in the video, please feel free to subscribe if you did enjoy this. No pressure though. I'm going to continue. I know my channel is new. I understand that, and I understand it takes a while to earn people's, recognition and for them to want to subscribe. So please, if you did enjoy it, please do leave a like. But at the end of the day, I am just happy if you are here, and I am happy if you are also pumped for JJK Season 3. So I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you again. I hope you have a great night or day wherever you are. Peace out.